Hey, hello everyone, and thanks for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, David Riggleman, Communications Director for the City of Las Vegas. Coming up on this program, remembering one of our police officers who we lost to COVID-19. We tell you about a special ceremony to honor Lieutenant Erik Lloyd. And later in the show, our soon-to-be city manager, Jorge Cervantes, will be joining us. Of course, the councilwoman who represents Ward 6 is Michelle Fiore. She joins me now. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. It's hot cocoa weather, David.
It is. Gosh, there's a touch of fall in the air all of a sudden.
I woke up this morning and didn't think and it happens every year.
Like that.
Exactly. You wake up and you're wearing a jacket and you're drinking hot cocoa. Right. And it's just wonderful.
And you go from one day running the air conditioner, and the next day it's like, I got to turn the heat on here.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
So crazy stuff.
I love it.
You doing all right?
I'm doing great.
Good,
Everything is good. We're just getting ready for the holidays.
Yeah, a lot going on. We got some great things to talk about coming up in Ward 6. You know Ward 6, it's your stomping ground. You know this really well. But for those of you who aren't exactly sure where Ward 6 is, well, no worries. We're going to show you right here on the map. It's our great Northwest area. If you live in that area or work in that area, then you are in the city limits of the city of Las Vegas. And if you're a resident out there, you are represented by Michelle Fiore on the city council. And all of a sudden, you're an old veteran, not old, but you're a veteran of the city council.
Listen, I am finally 50 and I love it, okay? So I call it my fabulous 50s. So, you know,
and happy
some
birthday,
folks,
by the way.
It happened a while ago. It happened in July, but literally, I have to tell you, I embrace getting older. The lessons that we learn going through life, really and truly, I'm grateful for. These are things that you're not going to learn in college. Yeah. And life, you don't learn in college. So I'm happy that I'm finally 50.
Well, that's a great outlook, too, because I, for one, as the years pass, start to think, oh no. So I should take more of your viewpoint of everything. You know, I'm getting wiser, right?
You're getting wiser.
Exactly. That must be it. So, Councilwoman, a lot to talk about. A couple of memorials, tough to begin the show with, but so important. Erik Lloyd, a Metro Police Lieutenant, I know a personal friend of your family, and passed away from COVID. He was still doing his job through all the pandemic, and like so many first responders, that can be a very dangerous thing. So there was a memorial for him out at Police Memorial Park. Everyone, when we lose a police officer in the line of duty, they're always remembered with a tree and a stone out there with their name on it. And it's a touching ceremony, and of course Erik's name was added to that group.
Yes, so it's surreal, and I think when someone passes that you love, I have to tell you, I don't feel like he's gone, and I know, I mean, we're in our third month now, and I'm with Mindy all the time, which is his wife, and she's one of my best friends, and it's truly surreal. I still feel his presence, and I just don't feel like he's left us. It's kind of weird, but, you know, and Mindy is, I have to tell you, what a trooper. Mindy is out there every day working, raising money for the police officers' injured fund, and taking care of officers still. She shows up supporting all of them. The LVPPA does a lot of fundraising. The officers does a lot of fundraising. You know, so I have to tell you, she's a strong woman going through this. Thank God she has so many dear friends and family members that love her and surround her. Erik's mom and dad are constantly with us with all of our little functions that we do. So, you know, besides the city council things that people know I do, there's probably an additional 10 to 20 other functions that we do and put together, and for everyone else out there, and including our police officers, because, you know, when you're in trouble, they're there. And Erik Lloyd, may he rest in peace, he did die of COVID, but Erik just got cleared from throat cancer in January, right? So, you know, it was 5 months, 6 months later, 7 months later, it was my birthday, where his body left us. And again, it's so important that people understand COVID, and COVID attacks folks that have underlying conditions.
And are vulnerable.
Very vulnerable. So like my mom, right? So I keep my mom separate. I really, like, she goes to church, you know, 2-3 times a week, and she's out But if I could just say, hey, Mom, can you kind of chill and, stay home a little bit? Nope, she won't do it. And as a matter of fact, because this year's been rough for my mom, she said to me the other day, because one time she was kind of out of it, and I put my truck behind her Cadillac so she couldn't get out with her car. And so she says to me last week, she has her keys in her hands, and she says, and don't you think you're going to take my keys away, because I made a spare set and I hit them. I'm like, oh my God, Mom.
Okay, Mom, you
yeah.
got me there.
Yeah. So, because sometimes when your parents get ill, and you know that they're under a lot of medication, you can't allow them to drive. I hate to say that, but you have to take care of your parents.
Yeah, absolutely, and no question about it. And I think this whole year, Councilwoman, you said something very important. One, a reminder that if you have an underlying condition, you really got to take this seriously. Be careful. The other thing, too, is it underscores that our first responders, they're still doing their job through the pandemic, and people need them. They're still going out there. And as we saw with Erik, they can put themselves in danger doing that.
They do.
To the pandemic, to COVID-19. So we thank them for their service, because it can be tricky. It can be dangerous getting out there, and mixing with people, and they're still doing their jobs.
I know, and I think a lot of folks think of our police officers like Iron Men, right? Because they always have their bulletproof vests on, and they just have this certain look that they can't get hurt. But when they clock out, they're just like you and me, and that vest comes off, and they have different illnesses as well. And I think we need to start treating our police officers more like human beings and not like robots, and care for them as much as they come to our rescue.
Yeah. And our police, fire,
all of our first responders. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, Councilwoman, along kind of the same notes, a special memorial took place. You posted this on Facebook. You said, always in our memory, together we are Vegas strong. And of course, you're referring to the October 1 memorial that we had at the Healing Garden that night. You were out there with some of your council colleagues as well. We did the traditional thing where we read the names, Mayor Goodman and myself. A bell tolled, and we lit the 58 candles for the 58. We also mentioned the 2 others that we've lost since then. And Councilwoman, it's interesting, we had to do it differently this year because of social distancing requirements. We could only have about 70 people in the garden. Normally there would have been a lot more out there. So we tried to do it as virtually as best we could this year. And a lot of people we know were able to watch it through a video stream. Not the same as being out there, but we had a lot of family members that we lost that were out there. You saw many of them and talked with many of them. And they still came out, regardless of where they were from, to be there to hear the name of their loved one read. So.
Absolutely, and that's every year our mayor does that, and our next mayor to come will most likely do that as well.
Yeah, I think it'll
be a tradition of the city. Yeah. And I remember when this first took place with Bob Coffin and Brad Jerbick and Brad and the 2 guys at the bar drawing this garden on a napkin.
Plague and Cool, right.
And now it's in the book, and the book is beautiful. The Healing Garden book, and it's really beautiful. And we lost one of our Metro officers that night as well, Charles, and he was off duty trying to save people.
He was.
Yep, I mean, no matter if their uniform is on or off, underneath that shirt or whatever they're wearing, they still have that superhero skin. That's what they do.
Yeah. It was. It's always a tough event because it just brings back so many of those memories from 3 years ago. And when you hear the names, you see the family members. So many of the family members have come year after year since this has occurred, and to see them again, it's just it's always hard. I'm glad we do it for their sake.
Yeah.
But it always just is a heartbreaking thing to see them again and know that they're still trying to heal after all this time. So. It's been 3 years for us. I'm sure it seems like more than a lifetime for them. So, like you say, Councilman, I'm sure that's going to be a tradition the city is going to continue
without
to
a
do.
doubt.
And good for you. You and your colleagues were out there to support the mayor that night, and that's important. There was a lot of support from the city council, and the families know that. They see that as well. So.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, Councilwoman, you also posted this on Facebook. You said, tonight in Ward 6 at Centennial Hills Amphitheater, we showed Hocus Pocus. Shifting gears here a little bit, something on a brighter note.
Yes.
This took place back on October 2nd. And to kind of kick off the whole Halloween season, what a great movie with, you know, the witches from, Salem there trying to come back after, 600 years or 500 years or whatever it is. But yeah, that's an early picture. We had more folks out there, but socially distanced. Everything's different this year. You know, it's not like we've done in the past.
Yeah.
We had to kind of spread people out, limit the numbers overall, but we still were able to do it.
Yeah, you know, I have to tell you that the picture we just showed, I don't know if we got evening pictures because we don't start the film till it gets dark. But when it got dark, we were at capacity according to the governor's standards, and it was really great because everyone there's nothing really to do, and a lot of things are still closed or you can't get in because it's at 50% capacity. So our parks are tripling in visitations all weekend. Floyd Lamb, you know, goes from 7,000 to 21,000 a weekend now. So it's amazing. And so when we look at the Hocus Pocus movie, I was so delighted that we had a lot of folks come out and play, and the kids, you know. The kids, they don't know. They don't understand what's happening, right?
No, they don't. It's like, why can't we go to the movies?
Yeah,
you know? Well,
yeah. So it's really fun, and even this year after, so usually with me and my family, because I have 6 grandkids and 1 on the way, almost 7, we usually do our event, you know, for our city, and we usually wrap it up by 7 or 8, and then we go from like 8 to 9, just like an hour, trick-or-treating, you know, in certain neighborhoods that do that. Well, this year we're not going to do that. So we're going to do the event. We went all in for the event at YMCA, making sure it's just going to be beautiful and spectacular. And then afterwards, you know, we're just going to do like a Halloween like dinner. So, you know, like I'll buy little pumpkin cupcakes, and you know what I'm saying? And so we'll just go home.
Of it. Yeah, you know.
We'll just go home and hang out and you know, watch a movie like The Nightmare. What's the Jack Skellington?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
The Nightmare Before Christmas. On Halloween, after we do our show, me and the family, we're going to have some Halloween snacks and dinner and watch The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Tim Burton.
It's a Tim Burton film. And so you know, it's just it's different time.
It is, Councilwoman, so true. And we should talk about your event, the Spooktacular you alluded to. This is going to be on the 31st Halloween night. It's a drive-through, as the Councilwoman said, 5 to 7 out at Floyd Lamb Park at Tule Springs. A little different, but we're going to do it safely. And Councilwoman, you're right. So many people are not going to go trick-or-treating this year, and so this is going to be a nice, safe alternative so the kids still will have some Halloween fun that night.
Without a doubt. So we've you know, we literally have stuffed over 2,500 bags with all good candies and little treats, and you know, they're going to make little Batmans and just stuff, you know, just fun stuff, and then the Northwest Area Command police officers will be out there giving out bags of candy too.
Nice.
And so will Assemblyman Tom Roberts. And so we just wanted to make sure, like, as the kids drive through, we give them as much as possible because, you know, they're gonna, you know, the city, we give them big bags of candy, and then, you know, Metro and the Assemblyman, that's all out there in Ward 6. So I really just want it to be special for the kids.
It's going to be really important. We were talking about this prior to the show. We're on Nextdoor. We use the app Nextdoor, and usually it'll indicate, you can indicate on there whether you're going to give out candy or not. And this year in my neighborhood, nobody's given out any candy. So clearly people are trying to be safe. But for the kids, that's why your event is going to be so special. And events like that where people have a chance to go and still enjoy the holiday differently, but still have an opportunity to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
So Halloween night. Now we know some of you are going to see this after the fact because this show airs over the course of the week. But we're hoping that many of you see it in advance of the event on the 31st, and please plan to come out there especially if you got young ones. It's done really well. You did that at Easter. You had a wonderful drive-through event, very safely done.
And we did a milk drive-through too.
Exactly.
We did a milk drive-through. We gave out 1,000 gallons of milk, thanks to one of our constituents who's in the farming industry, Brad Kloss with Klossco. He really, because at that point they were wasting milk and meat, and oh, that's just really, and so many families need it.
Needed it, exactly.
So yeah, so he gave away 1,000 gallons.
So we're getting really good at these drive-through events.
Yeah, we are. We really are.
We got it covered.
Yeah.
So if you got young ones, if you're out in the Northwest area, 5 to 7 that night, it'd be a great event. You always do a wonderful job out there. So, Councilwoman, we need to take a short break here, but when we return, you're going to meet our incoming city manager, Jorge Cervantes. That's next, so please stay with us.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Welcome back, everyone. Here at the city, we've had quite a few changes lately within our organization, as many are retiring. Now, one very big change we have is a new city manager officially starting on November 15th. He's with us today. It's Jorge Cervantes. And Councilwoman, I know it was important for you that we got to introduce Jorge on your program to the audience.
We do, because a lot of folks don't realize that the city manager is the face of the city. I mean, they see us, they see the newspapers talking about us all the time, but our city manager is truly the glue of the city of Las Vegas. And I've had the opportunity to work with Jorge Cervantes for my 3 years that I've been here. And so now, and Jorge was really the first city manager I got to choose, really. And so I'm very excited about him. I think his demeanor, his strength, his experience, 20-something years, 22 years with the city, is really going to get us through this pandemic. And I'm just very excited about the city manager, and I think he's the perfect fit for being the city manager.
Right, that's a great lead in. And Jorge, welcome to the program. It's great to have you with us. As Councilwoman said, you're going to be new to the job of city manager starting on November 15th, but you're not new to the city. You've been here 22 years, right?
That's correct, Dave. I have been here 22 years. As a matter of fact, the last 6 years up in the city manager's office.
And Jorge, give everybody, help them kind of track your career. You're an engineer by trade. You also have an MBA, Master's of Business Administration. Walk people through your career, especially here at the city. You started off as a project manager, and then have just worked your way right on up, right?
That's correct, Dave. Yeah, I did. I've been here 22 years now. Prior to that, I actually came from the city of El Paso, where I worked there for 11 years as an engineer. Had a great opportunity to come up to this community. Started off as a project manager, managing some of the city's capital projects, and then kind of worked my way up through the years in the city. Served for a while as the assistant traffic engineer, then moved up to the city engineer, served as the public works director for a couple of years, and then the executive director for community development. And my current role is the chief operations officer for the city.
Yeah, so now you're going to be stepping in as city manager. I should say our current city manager, Scott Adams, is retiring. He's had a long career. He was our city manager for 3 years, but had a long career with the city and in government. Mm-hmm. And he's stepping aside, and the council voted unanimously to name Jorge as the new city manager.
Yes, we did. And our outgoing city manager, I mean, to give him credit as well, he was a city manager in Louisiana, and he was a city manager of a city in Louisiana. And so, I mean, he's had his tenure.
He has.
And so now it's just time for him to have a good time with his beautiful wife and have fun. That I say that, but you know that never happens. You know when they retire from one, because he's still young. Scott Adams is still very young, and if you take care of yourself, like Scott, like Jorge, I mean, the new 60, the new 70 is like 50. You know,
I like that. I like
it's very true, because if you take care of yourself, it's not like back in the day. Like my mom, who's 70, she's like 90 because she was a party like a rock star type of girl, and now she pays for it. But, you know, us growing up, I'm 50, we don't do drugs, we don't abuse our bodies, we take vitamins, we work on our immune system. So when I'm 50, I think I'll be, and when I'm 70, I think I'll still be 50.
I think you will too. Yeah. I think you will too, no
Yeah.
question. We should ask Jorge, Jorge, I know a lot of challenge, Councilwoman alluded to this. We're in the pandemic, we're working our way through that. It's created a lot of challenge, especially with our budget. What are some of the things that you know going in that you're going to have to face and help the staff face right off the bat?
Well, you're right. The pandemic has impacted all of us, not just here in the city, but our whole country, and actually the whole world. And so I think going in, my focus really got to kind of focus on three things that I think we need to do. Is first of all, I think we need to continue to keep our organization being resilient and nimble so we can shift quickly and do whatever we need to do to help our community out through this pandemic. Secondly, I think we need to try to help our business open up as much as possible. Because the reality, unless folks are out there working, they've got no way to take care of their family. And I think people really want to take care of themselves instead of relying on government taking care of them. And so what we can do on our side to help this open up is going to be one of my priorities. And finally, make sure that we're fiscally stable. Because unless we're fiscally stable, we can't have the opportunity to provide the public service that we need to the fire response, the public safety, the maintenance of critical infrastructure. Our main source of income is sales tax, and with sales tax being down, revenue coming in is impacting us like it impacts every business. And so we have the ability to be able to be responsive to our community's needs.
Yeah, that's really well said. Councilwoman, so important in all that, because when you're talking about city budget, you're really talking about essential services. You're talking about fire, you're talking about our marshals, you're talking about all of our essential services at the city. So a strong economy and a strong city budget really translates to being able to provide those services to the community. And,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And also it's really weird because we have done such a shift in our employees and our top dogs like marshals and fire. So as our new city manager is coming in, he's placing a new department chief of fire, and he's also placing
public safety too.
Public safety too. So literally, it is the new Jorge Cervantes team.
True.
I mean, he is the things that he's doing, and he's coming in with new folks. It's really amazing. It's very energizing. I mean, the city is just through this pandemic. With this change, it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think you're right. Jorge brings a lot of energy. And Jorge, one of the things you said about being nimble, having the organization be nimble, you led some really great initiatives to try to be innovative during the pandemic. Our dining out, restaurants were limited in the number of seats they could have, so we worked with them to help them spread out onto the sidewalks and do it safely. So it was that kind of thinking that I think really you help spur, and I think really what you're hoping that we continue to do into the future, right?
We did, David. We learned a lot of things through this. It forces you, they say a crisis forces you to think outside of the box. And so just last week we were meeting our directors through a retreat and saying, look, we came up with some really innovative ideas to help us through this. Don't stop that flow. Keep those innovative ideas coming through because we're going to need them going forward. And so we just got to find ways to do things that normally we don't do to help our community continue to heal and move forward and be prosperous.
Yeah. I agree, Ed. Well said. No question about it. Councilwoman, I know you have high expectations for Jorge, but the council really, the support was unanimous.
Yes.
And Jorge, that's got to make you feel good coming in. You got 7 out of 7 folks saying he's our guy, he's the one, and that's definitely the way you want to start a position like that.
Yeah, very grateful for the opportunity and the confidence they have in me. And as I said when I went up there and was sworn in, that I'm here to serve the community, serve our council, so anything I can do to try to help them out, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, well, we all know your capabilities, Jorge. We've worked with you all these years and know how talented you are. Is there anything else you'd like to add? You've got the floor here. Is there anything else you'd like to add before Councilwoman and I have to say goodbye?
Just folks, we know there's a lot of hurt out there, and don't be afraid to reach out to us. Sometimes we're aware of programs that the community may not be aware of, and certainly reach out to us and we can put you in contact with the right folks that can help out. If it's not ourselves, we'll find someone that can.
Yeah, that's really great advice. And Councilwoman, that's your mantra. That's always what you're saying. You know what? If you need something, we'll help. Even we saw this so much during the pandemic. It really wasn't even our jurisdiction many times.
Yeah,
but we
doesn't
helped
matter.
because people needed the help, and we connected them with where they needed to be.
So there were several. We probably, just me, Chance, Marianne, Drew, my team personally, hand delivered 2 to 10 boxes of food when people would call and say, I've been tested, I tested positive, I can't go to the grocery store.
What am I going to do?
What am I going to do? Even when they order stuff, they were out of milk. So, you know, for a family of 2, we'd give them a week's worth of food. Same with family of 4, 6. It didn't matter. We went out, we went to Costco,
I know you
and
did.
we just delivered
Answered
the
a lot of
boxes.
questions. People were like,
and then gave them the resources as well. But one of the things I didn't want them to be scared or nervous about was they have COVID, they can't go anywhere, they can't go through a drive-through, they can't do anything. I wanted them to know the city of Las Vegas, our team, will hand deliver food to them. And we just left it at the door and we ran away. You know, it was here you go, and we ran away.
And I know you guys answered so many questions about all kinds of benefits. Where can I find this? This program or that program to help business or to help people who were worried about being evicted from their home or their apartment. So it was a busy time. Fortunately, we're just about out of time. Jorge, we want to thank you and wish you the very best of luck. We know you're going to do a great job. You've been a stellar employee at the city all these years, and we know as city manager, you're just going to keep it up. So wishing you the very best all the way around.
Thank you, David. Appreciate that.
All right. And Councilwoman, always a pleasure to have you on the show. We'll have you back in 6 weeks. You know, do another update from...
You're just great. Thank you,
thank
David.
you so much.
You are really great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we always want to tell everybody, hey, we always want to hear from you out there. So if you have something you'd like to share with Councilwoman Fiore, you can always find her on Facebook and Twitter. And you can also contact her just by picking up the phone. We still do that around here, 702-229-6405. And you can send her an email if you'd like at mfiore@lasvegasnevada.gov. And as we said, her staff, they're just so good about getting back with you. If you have a question, a problem, especially if it's related to the ward, they're all over it, on top of it. They'll take care of it for you. So, but if we can't help you, we don't hear from you. So
it's true.
All right. Councilman, great job. We'll see you back here in 6 weeks with another update from Ward 6. And in the meantime, we want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Access City Council. Our next show begins airing on November 5th with Ward 1 City Councilman Brian Knutson. You can now catch all of our KCLV shows on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time around. Please stay safe.